What's up, comic book fans? Avengers Age of Ultron, the black sheep of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Not really one of the movies that everyone agrees was either good or bad, but the movie that everyone just agrees to ignore. Or possibly forget, because honestly, it's pretty forgettable. I'd only seen the movie one time before watching it again to make this video, and I forgot about 90% of what happened during the movie. So in this video, I'll do my best to remind everyone of the MCU's forgotten film and answer the burning question, just how bad was Avengers Age of Ultron? So you probably don't need much background information for this film. I mean, it's Avengers 2. And it was meant to be the crown jewel of Phase 2. They brought back Joss Whedon, the man behind the first Avengers film. They brought back the majority of the original cast. And hot off the heels of Winter Soldier and Guardians of the Galaxy, we were all ready for the next big team-up film, which didn't really deliver. So let's get into why. First, let's go over some of the pros of the film. First, the chemistry between the cast members is undeniable, and the script allowed for some great moments between these characters, although I'd say there wasn't quite enough of that. Second, the special effects looked good. Ultron looked great, and overall the FX team did a pretty good job. Third, the action was mindless, but it was fun, and the choreography was slick and easy enough to follow. Fourth, Hawkeye's arc was a clear high point and remains one of the best overall arcs in any of these big team-up films. And finally, the best moments really don't have anything to do with the overall plot. Wait, now, that sounds like a negative. Am I already out of positives? Alright, the negatives. So the movie is just safe, and it's just boring. It really is a giant commercial for the upcoming Marvel films. So let's just go over the commercials that are hidden inside this movie. First, we have the setup for Civil War.
Well, I guess you'd know. Whether you tell us is a bit of a question.
Banner and I were doing research.
That would affect the team.
That would end the team. Isn't that the mission? Isn't that the why we fight? So we can end the fight? So we get to go home?
We have a setup for Infinity War. We have a setup for Black Panther.
Upon this rock, I will build my church. Vibranium.
It came at great personal cost. It's worth billions.
Now so are you.
And we have a setup for Thor Ragnarok.
That man has no regard for lawn maintenance.
There might be more than just these four setups that I can remember. If you can remember any, let me know down in the comments. I mean, this movie is just a tug of war between Whedon and the studio, and unfortunately, the studio won. Whedon really wanted to dig into the core of these larger-than-life characters, but the studio wanted to sell tickets, but then they realized, how can we sell tickets for a commercial for upcoming movies? So after realizing that they probably couldn't, they sold us a movie about a heartless mass-murdering robot, but unfortunately, that is not what we saw on screen. Do you all remember the Age of Ultron trailers as fondly as I do? I was more excited to see this movie than any other Marvel movie before it. It looked like they were really going to take this movie in a darker direction, one with huge stakes and ramifications for the Avengers. They were going to expand the cast, and they were going to introduce a villain like no other. The use of the haunting version of I've Got No Strings from Disney's Pinocchio was a genius move. But in the end, I'd almost call these trailers false advertising. Because we only got that one scene of the deformed and eerie Ultron before he downloaded the internet and became a really, really unfunny version of Tony Stark. What were they thinking with this portrayal of Ultron? I mean, really, what was going through their heads? Why did they animate his face and give him a human-looking mouth? Why did they make him only speak in unfunny one-liners? Why did they strip away all the menace from the trailers to make him a sideshow? I mean, I guess the franchise is catered to children and you can't sell toys of a homicidal killer robot? Oh wait, yes you can. Ultron was begging to be a literal soulless killing machine. He just didn't work as a comedic goofball. And Ultron 2.0, also known as the Vision, who was supposed to be an android with more human characteristics, is more robotic than the actual robot. Not only did the trailers mislead audiences, the title does too. There was no Age of Ultron. He was alive for like a day or two at the most. I know they were taking the title from the popular comic book event, but at least in like Civil War, there was an actual conflict between two groups of heroes. The Day or Two of Ultron would have been a much more accurate title. Yo, so what was with that weird romantic subplot between the Hulk and Black Widow? Whoa, Garrick, you were just talking about Ultron. Why did you just completely interrupt that thought with this new one about Hulk and Black Widow? Great question. And it's the same question I have for Marvel. Why would you shove in an awkward romance between Black Widow and the Hulk when you've done nothing to set it up during the course of the previous 10 films? You made more of a case for Black Widow and Hawkeye to be in a relationship or Black Widow and Captain America, but you did absolutely nothing to establish any kind of relationship between Natasha and Bruce, and then decided it would be a good idea to bring this up during a fun team-up movie. There just wasn't time for this, even if you did set it up beforehand. The movie was just way too overstuffed to begin with, which is my biggest problem. There was clearly an issue with studio interference. Like I said earlier, this movie reeks of studio meddling, which is upsetting because Joss was able to do so much with the first Avengers film. So I just imagine a world where Joss was allowed to bring his vision to life. No pun intended. This movie just does way more wrong than it does right. Threads don't connect in logical ways. The movie ignores much of the established canon that came before it. There are way too many characters to give them all time to shine. Scarlet Witch's abilities were never clearly defined, and she's too often a deus ex machina. Quicksilver was given way less to do than his sister, and then he kills himself off, and we're supposed to feel something for Quicksilver? I mean, Marvel did a great job of making a 2-hour commercial, but they forgot they were making a film. So how bad is Avengers Age of Ultron? On our scale of good, not bad, pretty bad, and really bad, I gotta give it a pretty bad. There was just so much missed opportunity here. There's just so much untapped potential. It's nothing more than a disappointment and will likely go down as one of Marvel's biggest mistakes. Luckily, they seem to have learned from this misstep, and the studio stays out of the way of their directors for the most part. So, what do you guys think? Am I being too hard on the movie? Honestly, I think it's super, super mediocre and just not that fun to watch. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Also, remember to like and subscribe if you did like this video. It does really, really help us out. Remember to check out our Patreon campaign if you're interested in supporting the channel even further. Remember the motto, guys. It's comics over everything, and I'll see you guys next time.